you have probably done it without thinking. A daddy longlegs appears on the wall or crosses the floor near your foot, and your first instinct is to end it. A shoe, a rolled magazine, done, gone. You did not even feel bad about it because somewhere in the back of your mind you were holding on to the idea that it was dangerous, that you were doing the sensible thing, that an animal supposedly loaded with lethal venom had no business being inside your home. The problem is that the information you were acting on was wrong. Not slightly wrong. Not mostly right with a few details off. Wrong in a way so complete and so backwards that once you understand what this animal actually is and what it is actually doing in your home and garden, you will not just stop killing it. You will start hoping it stays. That is what this video is about. Not just the myth, the full picture, the biology, the ancient history, the ecological role, and why removing a daddy longlegs is one of the least helpful things you can do for the space you live in. Let's start with the problem underneath every misconception about this animal. The name daddy longlegs does not describe one creature. It describes at least three entirely different animals depending on where you live. In North America and the United Kingdom, that name gets applied to the harvestman, the cellar spider, and in parts of the UK, a crane fly, which is a flying insect that is not an arachnid at all. Three animals, one name. A claim made about one of them gets absorbed into the reputation of all three. A misidentification made once gets passed along as fact until no one remembers where it started. So before anything else, we need to make the distinction clearly. The first daddy longlegs is the one most people encounter outdoors. You find it in the garden, under logs, at the base of stone walls, moving across soil with that unmistakable bobbing walk. This is the harvestman. Its scientific order is Opiliones. It is an arachnid, yes, but the word arachnid covers an enormous range of animals that share a common ancestor and not much else. Harvestmen are not spiders. They have never been spiders. Spiders have two body segments separated by a narrow waist and venom glands connected to fangs designed to inject toxin into prey. The harvestman has none of this. Its body is a single fused oval with no waist, no silk glands, no spinnerets, no venom glands, and no venom of any kind. It cannot build a web. It has no mechanism for injecting anything into anything, ever. Calling it a spider because it has 8 legs is like calling a dolphin a fish, because it lives in the ocean. The second daddy longlegs is the cellar spider, Fulcus phalangioides, a true spider that lives indoors, in your basement, garage, and the dark corners behind furniture you rarely move. This is the animal at the center of the myth. Someone, somewhere, decided to label it the most venomous spider in the world, with fangs too small to pierce skin. That claim spread. It attached itself to the harvestman by virtue of the shared seed, and became one of the most persistent pieces of misinformation in popular natural history. The myth fails on every count. Spider venoms are measured using LD50, the dose required to kill 50% of a test population. The venoms considered most dangerous to humans belong to the Sydney funnel web, the Brazilian wandering spider, and the six-eyed sand spider. The cellar spider appears nowhere in that ranking. The fang claim is also false. Documented bites produce mild irritation that fades within hours. In 2004, Mythbusters tested this on camera. Minimal reaction. Busted. And yet the myth circulates today as readily as before. But the myth is the least interesting thing about these animals. What is interesting is what they are and why their presence in your environment is a sign of something right, not something wrong. The harvestman is ancient in a way that is difficult to hold in your mind. The oldest known harvestman fossil dates to approximately 410 million years ago, from the Devonian period, before dinosaurs, before the first reptiles, before the first vertebrates made the transition to land. That fossil, found in the Riney Chert deposit in Scotland, is anatomically similar to modern harvestmans in fundamental ways. The basic body plan you are looking at when you see one in your garden has been operating continuously for over 400 million years. The entire evolutionary history of mammals fits inside a time frame less than half as long. Animals that persist for 400 million years without dramatic change are not failing to adapt. They are succeeding so completely at what they do that the pressure to change is minimal. Whatever this animal is doing, it is doing it extraordinarily well. What it is doing is filling a role in the ground-level ecosystem that almost no other animal fills in the same way. The harvestman is an omnivore, which is unusual among arachnids. Most arachnids eat only living prey. The harvestman eats living prey, yes, but it also eats decomposing plant matter, fungal material, and rotting organic debris. It is simultaneously a predator and a decomposer, and that combination makes it ecologically important in ways a single-role animal cannot match. In your garden, the harvestman hunts and consumes the eggs and small bodies of pest insects that would otherwise reach maturity and reproduce. And it breaks down organic material that needs decomposition to cycle nutrients back into the soil. It does not build a web and wait. It moves continuously, patrolling the ground surface, covering terrain that stationary predators cannot. The tips of its legs are equipped with chemosensory organs. It tastes and smells the world through its feet as it walks. Each step is a sampling of the environment. It is also chemically defended. Harvestmen have paired glands called ozophores that produce a secretion containing quinones and phenols that smell strongly unpleasant and taste repellent to most predators. Birds will take one harvestman, encounter the defense, and avoid them thereafter. This is why the harvestman does not need venom. Venom acts after capture. Chemical secretions act before contact. The defense can stop an attack before the animal is at risk. Now the cellar spider, because its story is one of the most remarkable hunting strategies you will find in any small arthropod. The cellar spider lives in the undisturbed spaces of your home, because that is precisely where pest insects concentrate. But it does not only wait for prey. It hunts, actively, aggressively. It invades the webs of other spiders, vibrating the strands in a pattern that mimics the struggles of trapped prey. The web owner approaches the source of the disturbance, interpreting the signal as food. The cellar spider then attacks. It has engineered the entire encounter on its own terms, with surprise, against a prey animal whose approach it deliberately manufactured. This strategy works against spiders significantly larger than itself, and it has been documented against one of the most dangerous spiders in North America. Research at the University of California recorded cellar spiders invading black widow webs, executing the vibration mimicry, and successfully capturing and consuming black widows under controlled conditions. This is not an anomaly. It is routine behavior. The cellar spider you have been sweeping out of your basement may have been the reason a black widow never established itself in that space. You removed the predator. You left the space open for the prey. Black widow bits cause muscle cramping, severe pain, and in vulnerable individuals, serious complications requiring medical attention. The cellar spider is a natural suppressor of black widow populations in shared indoor environments. Removing it is not a neutral act. It tips the balance in exactly the wrong direction. The harvestman in your garden carries a similar message. Its presence is tied directly to the health of your soil. Harvestmen require moisture, organic debris in various stages of decomposition, and a living ecosystem of bacteria, fungi, and invertebrates. A garden with harvestmen has biologically active soil. A garden where they have disappeared is one where something in that system has broken down. Their presence or absence is telling you something real. So why does killing them still feel automatic, even knowing all of this? The answer runs deeper than information. Human fear of small, fast-moving animals with multiple legs has a significant innate component. Children show fear responses to spider-like stimuli at ages where they could not have learned that fear. Adults respond to images of spiders with measurable physiological arousal, even when shown too briefly for conscious recognition. The fear fires before thinking begins. This is why knowing the myth is wrong does not automatically stop the instinct. The myth was never really the cause of the behavior. It was recruited to justify a behavior the nervous system was already producing. Clearing the myth removes the intellectual justification, but the instinct remains. The way to change the behavior is to rebuild the context entirely. When you understand that the harvestman's small oval body carries 400 million years of evolutionary history, when you understand that it reads your garden through the tips of its feet, the animal does not change. The context does. And when the context changes, the instinct loses its grip. The next time you see a harvestman bobbing across your garden path, watch it for a moment. Consider that the design you are looking at is so successful that 400 million years of environmental change found no reason to alter it. And the next time you find a cellar spider in the corner of your basement, consider what it is doing there. Consider that the black widow not living in your basement may owe that fact, in some quiet and unacknowledged way, to the spider you have been meaning to sweep away. Leave them where they are. Let them do what they have been doing since long before you arrived, because the question was never really whether you should kill the daddy longlegs. The question whether you understood what you were killing. Now you do, and now you know the answer. If this changed how you see these animals, let me know in the comments. I read everything. I will see you in the next one.